Hey there, Kingsley here. Before I begin to explore the topic of why divorce is on the table and what to do about it, let me say thanks for joining me on this video broadcast. Now, the D word or the divorce word is a difficult one to use and to hear. If you've ever experienced that, you know what I'm talking about. And the reason why I know this is because I have spoken to so many couples as a therapist and a coach who have gone through this, who have experienced this, who have used that word and have heard that word. And some are on the other side of that now, and some are still struggling and going through this whole idea of divorce. So it's not something that anyone takes lightly, even though it's becoming more and more seemingly acceptably, unfortunately, and almost like a way of life. It's almost like nothing anymore. It's not as sacred. It's not as looked on as a taboo anymore. It's almost like it's an accepted way of life, and so you get married and you get divorced. So what? Move on, right? And so people are having multiple divorces and multiple remarriages. But the more, as the statistics are still true, that a second and third marriage tend to have shorter lifespan, right? First marriage have the longest lifespan, generally speaking. There are some exceptions. And second and third marriages tend to have shorter lifespans. There are a rare exceptions in that as well, but divorce is becoming so much a part of our everyday life. It's very difficult to not see and know somebody in your realm, your sphere, who have not experienced divorce. And maybe you have experienced divorce in your own childhood, and maybe you're now as an adult, as a spouse, or maybe as a divorced individual, but you know that it's very, very difficult. It's difficult, and it's a very difficult and emotionally charged decision that no one really wants to face. But unfortunately, it's a reality. It's a reality for so many couples. Now, if you're watching this video, you may be one of the many individuals who are contemplating divorce or have been surprised by your spouse asking for a divorce. And so you may be feeling anxious or depressed, scared, simply overwhelmed. So let me just say this right off the top. It's normal to feel all those emotions and then some, because this is a traumatic thing, especially for a long-term relationship and for any phase of the relationship. The marriage is traumatic, especially if it's something that came out of the blue, or as I explain later, maybe one of the reasons I'll explain later why people ask for a divorce. Maybe one of those things, it may not be as traumatic because you saw it coming, but I can guarantee it still has some trauma involved in it, some trauma aspect to it, because it's a loss. It's a grieving process that has to take place. And so it's never easy. So in this video, I'll be discussing 3 reasons as to why someone asks for a divorce, or you may have asked for a divorce, and 3 suggestions as to what to do about it. Now, if this is your first time hearing me and it's wondering, who am I to be speaking on topics like this one? Let me just say, I'm Kingsley Grant, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach. And I help couples make marriages happier again. Now, having counseled and coached hundreds of couples over the past several years, and having been married for almost 4 decades, yes, 4 decades, I think I'm more than qualified, I believe, to talk about topics like this from my professional experience, not personal, but professional experience. But some things I will also talk about has to come out of my own personal journey of almost 4 decades, which I hope you'll appreciate that. Now, let me also recommend that if you listen to my podcast at happiermarriagesecrets.com, happiermarriagesecrets.com/podcast, and you'll be able to hear more of my thoughts on topics that are similar to this one. And at the end of this video, I'll share with you how to get access to some of the other resources that I have to offer. But for today, let's just dive into today's topic: why your spouse may be asking for a divorce, and what can you do about it. Now, by the way, if you would like to get an instant feedback on the state of your marriage and what to do about it, then I need to ask you to go to happiermarriagesecrets.com/quiz, because there's an assessment there that's provided for you. It takes less than 90 seconds and you'll have your score immediately. And then you'll be given access to a downloadable PDF that explains your score and the category that you may find yourself in and what you can do about this. And if this interests you, I'm going to encourage you to go to happiermarriagesecrets.com/quiz. And the link will be in the description that follows this video below. And just want you to be aware of that, but that's where you will go and do the quiz. So why divorce is on the table and what to do about it? Now, that's the question, and this video will provide you with the answers. I want to give you 3 possible reasons why a person may ask for divorce. And they are in a marriage where their communication breakdown. Now, one of the main reasons why divorce may be on the table for you for your relationship is because your communication having let's just cut to the chase, have sucked, right? It's not been good. It's been very, very toxic. It's been very, a very caustic kind of relationship. And your spouse may have talked to you about it for a long time, but you've done nothing. You've kind of brushed it off, taken it for granted, and just did nothing until now, all of a sudden, she or he is just so worn down and just cannot take it anymore and is so sick and tired of these things. And because of the breakdown that's taking place, which leads to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and conflicts, and sense of disconnection, because if you're not talking and not communicating, your relationship is suffering, and there's a disconnect happening in your relationship. And that's one of the reasons why I find that spouses ask for a divorce. Second one, and this is a big one right here. This is a biggie. And this is one of the most, often mentioned reason, and that's infidelity. Now, it could be that one of the partner have done something that is current or is in the past. And it could be something that is being being played out right now in a relationship. And one spouse is simply saying that just cannot take it. That's one of they're non-negotiable, right? They've said you can do anything, but do not have an infidelity in our relationship. And that may be a line of no return for one partner, and they are asking for a divorce. Now, an infidelity that occurs does not mean a divorce has to happen, right? Because so many people have rebounded from that and have done tremendously well. But what happened is that because the trust is shattered, and it creates irreparable damage, right, to the relationship. And so the person feels like, I just can't do this. I cannot do this. And it's understandable that may be the reason why. And it's interesting to see that for younger couples between the ages of 19 and late 20s, early 30s, women are the ones who are the leading gender in divorce and infidelity in a marriage, right? Men is right below by a short percentage, but women are still, the wife is more the one who would do that. In the say mid 30s, late 40s and thereabouts, men, of course, is the one who are not, of course, but men are the ones who are the leading culprit. And these were culprit here because I couldn't find a better word, but is the leading one who do actually follow through in infidelity. And so that is one of the statistics that are out there. So regardless of where it came from, this may be one of the reasons why a divorce is being asked for. What I hear so often also, the third reason is irreconcilable differences. Irreconcilable differences. And I've heard it so many times where people say, we simply have grown apart, and they use this phrase, I love this person, but I'm no longer in love with them. Have you heard that? Have you ever used that? I would love to hear from you if you've ever seen that played out, if you've ever used that, if you've ever heard that. Just comment below and let me know your thoughts on this. What I've just mentioned, irreconcilable differences or infidelity or communication, any of those, or just share your thoughts right below in the comments, right? But the difference is because they're saying they've lost the same interest. They don't have that anymore. They don't have shared goals anymore. And when this happens, it can be very difficult to reconcile because they feel like they've grown apart and no longer feel like they're together as one, and maybe have began to, sleep in different bedrooms and things that are just like, they're just coexisting as two adults, two individuals, but they're not feeling as if they're married couples. And that also can happen in a relationship. Now, here are 3 suggestions that I have for this kind of these situation. Now, the number 1 is really where I would go, not almost, I would go all the time, and that is seek professional help. Now, some people bark at this, and I would say, that doesn't help, and I'm not doing that. I mean, I don't care. I get it. Some people are just anti therapy, anti coaching, and I get it. That's their prerogative. But I find it, obviously, what you're doing is not working, and do more of the same and expect different results is called insanity. So seeking a third party, a trained individual, a professional who can help to bring a perspective you're not considered. And maybe if your spouse are willing to go there with you, should not be dragged, should not be forced, should not be coerced. They must be willing. I find if a spouse is not willing to show up for professional help and they're just going through the motions, it's not going to work. And so they say, oh, I tried, it did not work. It didn't work because you did not want it to work. You want to say, I tried everything and I showed up. So that's not the kind of thing I'm talking about. Both individuals must say, I want this. We want to give it a chance, but we know we cannot continue this way. And the tools we have is not working. Seek professional help, seek the right kind of professional help, get references, get recommendations. Just don't close your eyes and pick someone. No, you don't pick someone that way. Make certain that you get references and then make a very, thoughtful and good decision on that regards, right? So seek professional help. Number 2, give the partner the space they need to make their decision. Now, this is a hard part because here it is, you're saying, if I give them space, then they're going to actually speed up the divorce. Not always. They may need time to consider, to reflect. I did a video on this. I hope you have watched that. You can go back and I'll provide the link below about how to give, it says, I need space, how to give your partner space and why you would need to give them space. So you want to watch that video and I put the link below and I also show it at the end of this video. So you can click on that and watch that one as well. But this is very important that you give them space. Don't crowd them. Don't just, don't be the one that actually, so almost always there and trying to choke them and suffocate them and why, and in their face. That's not going to work, right? That's not going to work. Just give them the space they need. And of course, with professional help, you can actually figure out a way to do it much better than you probably are doing it right now. So that's very important to give them space. And I want you to watch that video that talks about this. So I won't take much time to go through this because I've covered that in another video. And number 3, practice self-care. Now, you've got to practice self-care through all this. Keep yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually fit. You've got to keep your mind and your body and your spirit up. Why? Because through this could be an opportunity for a reset for you, okay, and the relationship as well. But it may be a chance for you to see what your contribution and how areas of your life that needs to be you need to grow and develop and change. You may need that. And so this may be an opportunity for you to go deep and begin to work on yourself. Not just because you want your partner back and want him or her to come back. No, yes, that's important. That may be a part of the issue, but that should not be the main driver. It should be you becoming a better version of yourself so that what happened is that suppose this relationship turns around, she or he is not coming back to the version of what they wanted to leave in the first place. Why would they want to come back to that? Why would you want to offer them that? It's you working on yourself and creating a new lifestyle and say, this is your new lifestyle going forward. And so you are going to be able to present that kind of person. So this may be a wake-up call for you to work on you. And it's not just a finale, if it's over. It could be a wake-up call. It could be your gift. And I use that very carefully here to become a better version of yourself. Now, I just hope this, give yourself space. I mentioned before 3 things: professional help, give your partner space, practice self-care. And if any of this resonate with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, right? Because you did not get here overnight, right? It's going to take some time and some work and commitment. But I can tell you, my friend, I've seen so many people who have bounced back from this very place I'm talking to you with and have better marriages than they've ever had, because they don't want to go back to the marriage they have. Why? It'll lead them right back to where they were before. So this is a whole transformation. Now, I'd like you to comment below and let me know if this makes sense. And I'd like to hear from you. So let's come have a conversation. You may have a question. You may have a comment. I'd love for you to comment below and let me hear your thoughts on that, right? Now, before we kind of end today, I wanted to say before we go is make sure that you smash the subscribe button. 3 things I want to ask you to do. Smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss any other videos I post here on this channel. And remember to listen to the Happier Marriage Secrets podcast by going to happiermarriagesecrets.com and get your free access. All the link will be found right below in the description that follows this broadcast. And don't forget to take the Happier Marriage Assessment Quiz, right? happiermarriagesecrets.com/quiz. You'll find all the links I mentioned today right below. So with that said, my friend, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And until the next video, let's go and make marriages happier again. See you on the next video. God bless.